I had some time and I wanted to make some more original video content, and this was an idea I had written down for a good while now, so I decided to do it today. I'd also like to do more of these, including 4-star servants and other kinds of combos, so let me know down in the comments if you want to see more of this type of stuff. A lot of people seem to enjoy me rambling on about servants in my annual tier lists, so maybe this will keep you entertained until I tackle those again next year. Also, only this intro part is actually scripted besides me doing the actual ranking of the servants, so I'm probably gonna ramble some nonsense like usual. So this is the top 10 best SSR spooks, aka permanent servants, that you will most likely want to see over the others, or at least that's how I imagine this, you know, opinions and all. Chances are I forgot someone too, so do yell at me in the comments about that. I'll also try and keep this video on the shorter side, which means I won't cover the servants in full detail. You can again refer to my tier lists of 2022 in case you want to hear me talk about them in more detail. And finally, yes, this also factors in JP buffs and servants like the tier lists do. Alright, let's go. Okay, I have like one honorable mention that I'm just gonna list right from the get-go. Otherwise, you're just gonna see the top 10. So I do want to mention Tamamo. Obviously, she's a great support. Still, even in this day and age on JP, despite others existing, she is still totally fine as an art support. But I feel like because there are so many more other options nowadays, especially for arts, so that's the only reason why I didn't include Tamamo in this actual top 10. So please don't hate me for that. She's still fine and very fun to use, so that's my one honorable mention for this list. So, starting at number 10, I have the only extra class servant in this list. It is John. What can I say? I feel like she, much like Tamamo, who I just mentioned, has gone down in popularity over the years. People tend to not want to use them much anymore, since again, arguably other better options exist. But in my opinion, John is still, to this day, a super safe pick that will just enable so many more comps. Hell, the term stall meta wouldn't even exist if she wasn't there to innovate it in the first place, even if, you know, nowadays we have some unkillable teams, etc., that don't even include her, but she is still a pioneer, and even to this day on JP, you can still make good use of her as a general great defensive-oriented support. Her MP is still, in my opinion, one of the strongest there is for defensive MPs in the game. And she can still do a little bit of soloing, albeit, you know, you're gonna have to be a masochist to do that, because it's gonna be slow. But in my opinion, John is still a very much wanted spook, but you'd mainly just want one copy of her. That's why she's not like really down in this list. She's like at the top of the top, so you mostly just want one copy of her, even though her MP actually gets a lot better when you get MP2, because, you know, year 1 game design is weird. Number 9 is gonna be Vlad, Berserker. Yes, good old Uncle Vlad. A lot of people still, for some reason, don't really feel him up. I don't know why. I feel like it's mostly people that played the game since release, and let's be real, he was never that good when the game released. But now, after several solid buffs to this man, and the existence of many amazing art supports, this guy is seriously one of the best single target DPSs in the game. Even when we include like other like rarities of servants in this conversation, like limiteds and story locks, this man is still like super solid. Just an endless MP training monster. No pun intended, I suppose. Again, the reason he's not, you know, further down in the list is because he's not amazing without supports. He's just okay. He really shines when you use him with those really good supports like Arturia, for instance. So because he does require a bit of support to get going to his true potential, he only comes out at number 9 for me. Number 8 is gonna be not a day 1 servant. Finally, we got Dioscuri. Yes, the good old permanent Saber Gemini twins. Ever since they released on JP over 2 years ago, I immediately fell in love with their gameplay. It is just solid. You know how I just talked about Vlad? They're even more consistent, if anything. The only downside is that they're sabers, so you most likely will just use them against lancers and or berserkers, so they don't have the versatility that Vlad has, but man, they are still very much at the top side of single target sabers. Again, all other servant competition included, they are just super solid. And I feel like, yes, they also shine the best with some good supports like Castoria and your other arts options. They are not as support reliant to get going as Vlad is, so that's also a small bonus, I suppose. And their kit is just fully loaded, and I absolutely love their MP having the amazing like combo of Invul, Pierce, and Ignore defense for the utility. It's a very rare combo, but it is just amazing to have, especially considering how spammable their MP is. Number 7, I have San Zhang. Yes, good old single target titty monk action, okay? I'm not gonna lie, she's probably one of the weakest in this list in terms of her actual kit, but the reason she is in this list and also not at the bottom of the list is because, as a lot of you guys might know, single target casters are still kind of a luxury, honestly, as sad as it is. Media as a 3-star is not great because they just gimped her modifiers. And for 4 stars, there's not even that many options, and hell, there's not even many 5-star options, and every other option you have for 5 stars are limited to begin with. She's the only permanent, so for what it's worth, though, I still think even among the competition, which again there's not a whole lot, I still think she's like possibly just the best of the single target casters anyway. You could make the argument as well that she shouldn't be in the list to begin with because, yes, single target casters are rare, but no, you don't necessarily need them because stuff like single target alter egos exist. While you don't get the same, you know, full class advantage against assassin, arguably the other options for alter ego, having way better kits, etc., is probably worth the trade-off if you think about it. But I still wanted to put her in this list, especially because, again, there's not even like any limit, like permanent options for those, you know, aforementioned alter ego replacements. I feel like for most people, San Zhang is still going to be a great spook. Okay, number 6 is good old Arturia Seiba, the OG, the poster girl of the entire franchise. If this was done years ago, she would never be in this list, but nowadays, especially if you're farming Shisho Fest right now, chances are you might be using her in the actual finals 90 plus node because she is solid. So the reason she's deep into this list is because she's a very great farmer. Now, again, this is considering JP, so NA players might not realize how great she is because we can't do like proper buster farming yet. Just believe me, she is like a top buster farmer when we get Koyan and stuff next year, so just top tier. And even outside of buster farming, as you could, like the aforementioned Shisho Fest, you can still make good use of her because of her battery, etc. I guess I should give a very small honorable mention to Altera as well nowadays, because she can also buster farm. But if you ask me, Arturia is still a way more easier and able to option because she doesn't even need a K-scope, which is just really nice. Number 5 is the only assassin in the list, and it shouldn't be a shocker anyway, because I believe there's only 2 permanents still to this day, which is just weird. It's Jack the Ripper. There's not much for me to say about Jack, honestly. I'm sure everyone who's ever used her, even if you don't own her, you know how great she is numbers-wise. Now, sadly, her kit definitely is lagging behind. You can tell she's like a year 1 servant. It's very basic at best and could use a buff or 2 if you ask me. But still, absolutely, even JP standards 7 years later after the launch of the game, super relevant just because of how great her gains are. For both MP and star generation, I would say EX tier, best star generator in the game, and just insanely spammable MP, by the way, of those follow-up base cards as well. Just a super simple servant, but absolutely still works to this day. Number 4 is gonna be the latest addition in this list. It's Minamoto no Tametomo. I am already in love with this guy. I am very shocked they made him permanent, but hey, that's great because now this list just got juicier as well. I looked at all the other archers as well. So from the permanents, none of them really seem to stick out for me, except for this guy. And boy, I can tell you, he is a monster. He can do a bit of buster farming, so it's an added bonus, but I feel like that's not gonna be his main selling point. His main selling point is going to be absolutely massive buster crit potential on the DPS side. Yes, he is AoE. Usually you'd prefer your, boss killers to be single target. But in my opinion, most of his damage definitely doesn't even come from the MP. Even though the MP also, like the aforementioned Dioscuri, has that amazing combo of the Invul Pierce and the Ignore defense. And also they're turn-based, not just for the MP. I feel like most of his damage potential just comes from a lot of buff stacking. Like his own kit alone has so many damage buffs. You might not even need to bring that much support on him. Just, it just helps if anything. But he's already very loaded. You can tell this is a modern servant because his kit has it all basically. From buster up, crit damage, MP damage, batteries, and a pretty solid modifier for lawful enemies in the MP as well. And again, there's a lot of lawful sabers, so it's just a great combo. This guy is definitely an amazing permanent servant, so he's gonna come at number 4 for me. Number 3 is gonna be something people will probably expecting to see in this list. It's Enkidu. So Clay, again, much like Jack, I bet a lot of people know just how good he is. And much like Jack, even to this day, he is still a top tier, arguably still the best single target lancer in the game. Still not a huge fan of his, full quick deck with his Buster MP, but the numbers just speak for themselves. You think someone with a low attack of 10.7k for an SSR would not be able to do a lot of damage? You'd be mistaken. His MP is the real reason he is so ridiculous. It does so much damage. And he's also very easy to keep alive because he has a high base HP, has a 1-turn evade, and also a very flat heal with the debuff cleanse. So he's very self-reliant for basically staying alive, which means you can just go full-on offense mode when it comes to his supports. Hell, you could probably even run Scotty with him because of that triple quick deck. You don't need the protection from Scotty. You could just take her for the buffs, so that also increases the options for his supports, if anything. All in all, Clay is just an amazing package. Number 2 is gonna be Waver. I bet a lot of people will be surprised that he's not number 1, and I might as well address that immediately. The only reason he is not number 1 is because you just you just want him once, okay? You want that one Waver, and then you kind of don't want to see him again. And also, he's been available 2 times now to be picked as a free SSR as well. So chances are a lot of people who played around those tickets already have a copy of him. So the value of the spook definitely goes down as well. But I still want to place him very high on this list because he is just solid. He's an amazing generic support that just works with any card type. If you're looking for like one of the most versatile supports in the entire game, someone you can run into basically any comp ever. Sure, he might not always be like the best option, almost hardly ever the best option, especially if you have all the other ones. He is just, that versatility is invaluable. I still use Waver a lot on both servers, not gonna lie. Maybe not for farming, but definitely for like bosses and stuff. He's still good. So I think it's a very easy number 2 spot for him on this list. And number 1 for my list is gonna be Ozzy. This man is ridiculous. I would arguably just say flat out broken. Enkidu, what I said, was arguably the best single target lancer in the game. Ozzy is without an argument the best single target rider in the game. This man is so good, like no one else comes even close. High stats, high gains, great deck, broken ass MP after the buff, and after they buffed his charisma as well, which not only gets more synergy from his MP as well, reducing cooldowns. It's just, he's usually the types of servants that are like him, like Jack, who have just great numbers and all. Their kit tends to, go on the backside because of like compensation, so they don't become too broken. Ozzy nowadays, he has it all. He has the ridiculous numbers and he has the ridiculous kit. He's just an Energizer bunny that just keeps going and going and going, especially with the modern Buster supports. This man is just, he's broken. He's just flat out broken. I don't know what to tell you. Hell, you could probably even easily run him on neutral, like class affinity as well. He's that good. I'm not joking. If you really want to see me fawn over better at his kit and everything, you can again refer to the tier list, but I'm just going to tell you, Ozymandias, absolutely broken. Best single target rider by far. No competition whatsoever. So there you go. I bet a lot of my talk sounded very repetitive. Again, this was all non-scripted after the intro, so I apologize if, you know, I repeated some terms a lot, but, you know, I'm a very simple-minded guy, but hopefully I at least kept you entertained for this video. If you did enjoy it, please do me a solid and press the like button. Again, also, let me know if you want to see more of this type of content, and I might just do more in the future. Stay tuned to not miss out on any future uploads, and otherwise, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Alright, peace out.